Billionaire CEO sleeps with beautiful black maid discovers she's pregnant with quadruplets and marries her. Hi, my sweet family. I'm so happy you're here with me today. I have a very special story to share, and it might touch your heart. Thank you for being here. We're going on a fun little journey together. But before we begin, tell me, where are you watching from? I love reading your comments and seeing where my wonderful family lives all around the world. Now, are you ready? Let's get started. The morning sun shined on the big gates of Devo Estate as Alara Martinez's old Toyota slowly drove up the long, winding road. Her heart beat fast inside her chest. Each beat reminded her how important this day was. The garden was very big on both sides. There were green lawns and beautiful flowers everywhere. Alara felt small and plain next to all this. She was 26 years old. She had a master's degree in architectural design, which means she learned a lot about designing buildings. She had big dreams, but not much money. Alara never thought she would start working as a housekeeper. But she needed money because her student loans had to be paid. She had seen her mom work many jobs just to buy food. Alara was proud to work honestly, just like her mom taught her. The big house came into view. It looked like a modern castle made of shiny glass and straight lines. Alara, who loved architecture, felt her heart beat faster. The main building was very fancy. It had tall windows that shined like diamonds in the morning light. Mrs. Madeline was the head housekeeper. She had a serious face, and her silver hair was tied back tightly. She looked like she was always unhappy. She waited for Alara at the side door. "You're 3 minutes late, Miss Martinez," she said while looking at her watch with her lips pressed tight. "I'm sorry. The traffic was bad," Alara said. She fixed her simple black dress. She was glad she wore something nice for her first day. "Mr. Devo runs a very strict house. Being late is not allowed," Mrs. Madeline said. Then she turned around and started walking. Alara followed her. "Your references are very good, but I was surprised by your education. It is strange for someone like you to want this job," Mrs. Madeline said. Alara wanted to say something back, but did not. "I believe all work is important," she said. "My mom told me that." Mrs. Madeline looked at her for a moment. Maybe she respected her. Then she went back to being serious. "Okay, let me show you what to do." The next hour went very fast. Mrs. Madeline showed her everything. The inside of the house was even more amazing. The ceilings were very high, and there were many pieces of art. They probably cost more than all of Alara's school money. Mrs. Madeline told her the cleaning schedule, how to take care of old and valuable things, and the rules for some rooms. "Mr. Devo likes his privacy the most," Mrs. Madeline said. When they reached the 3rd floor, she said, "This floor is not allowed unless he says it is okay. His private office in the East Wing is the same." When they got near the conservatory, Mrs. Madeline spoke with respect in her voice. "This place needs very special care. Mr. Devo works here in the mornings. You must take care of it before the sun comes up." They went inside the conservatory. Alara's breath stopped for a moment. The place was like magic. It was a big room made of glass and steel. There were rare plants and a small pond with colorful fish called koi. The morning light came through glass panels and made beautiful shapes on the marble floor. "Do you understand everything, Miss Martinez?" Mrs. Madeline asked. "Yes, Mrs. Madeline, I understand," Alara said. Suddenly, they heard the sound of very expensive shoes clicking on the marble floor. Both women turned around. A man was standing in the doorway. He looked very important. Alara's heart stopped for a second, then started beating fast again. Cashin Devo was not like the pictures Alara had seen online. His dark eyes were very strong. His lips moved in a small smile. He seemed to fill the room with energy. He was 35 years old. He had built a big company that made new clean energy. But he looked more like a statue than a businessman. "Mrs. Madeline," he said with a small nod. His voice was deep and smooth. Then he looked at Alara. The whole world seemed to move. "You must be the new worker," he said. "Yes, sir. I'm Alara Martinez," she said. She was happy her voice was steady even though her throat felt dry. His eyebrow went up a little. "Alara, that name means God's promise. It is strange to see someone with your education working as house staff." Alara was surprised. "Many things can bring people to places they did not expect, Mr. Devo," she said with a small smile. He smiled too. "That is true, Miss Martinez. Welcome to Devo Estate." The next few weeks at Devo Estate became a routine. It was both calming and strange for Alara. Every morning, she came before the sun rose to take care of the conservatory. She secretly hoped to see Cashin again. Sometimes she did. He wore nice clothes and worked among the plants in the glass room. Their talk started with safe things like architecture. This let them talk without breaking the rules. But little by little, their talks became more personal. One quiet morning, the sun painted the glass walls with pink and gold colors. Alara saw Cashin already in the conservatory. He was looking at an orchid that was not doing well. He had taken off his suit jacket and rolled up his sleeves. He gently touched a yellow leaf. "Good morning, Miss Martinez," he said without turning around. He always seemed to know she was there. "Good morning, Mr. Devo." "I want your opinion," Alara said. She stayed careful and polite. "These orchids should be better, but they are not," he said. A little sadness showed on his face. Alara looked at the plants. "Sometimes perfect care is not enough. My mom said living things need more than just the right place. They need connection," she said softly. Cashin looked into her eyes. The air felt different between them. "Your mom is wise," he said, moving closer and pointing at the orchids. "Maybe these orchids are lonely." Alara smiled a little. "Orchids like to grow together in groups. Maybe being alone is not good for them." "That sounds a bit like this house," she said. He spoke lighter, but his words had meaning. Their talks became special moments. Cashin told stories about his travels, running a big company, and how hard his life could be. Alara talked about her dreams of making homes that helped the earth. She shared how her mom taught her to be proud of honest work. One evening, Alara was working late in the library. Cashin found her. He had taken off his tie, which meant he had a hard day. "You're here late," he said, sitting in a big leather chair. He looked tired. "I'm finishing some work," Alara said. "You look tired." She felt worried. He ran a hand through his dark hair, making it messy. "Sometimes board meetings make me forget I'm human," he said. "Do you forget that?" she asked before she could stop. He looked deep into her eyes. "Sometimes it feels lonely." "It is," he said, looking at her closely. "But lately, I feel what it's like to be seen as more than just a boss." The warm light in the library made him look less like a big boss and more like a man who wanted to connect. "Tell me about your dreams," he said suddenly. "Not the safe ones, the wild ones you are afraid to say." Alara should have stayed professional, but she told him about her big ideas. She wanted to make cities with beautiful, healthy homes. Places that felt as wonderful as the conservatory. She took out her sketchbook and showed him her drawings. Her hands shook a little, but he was really interested. They talked for hours. Cashin shared ideas from his work in clean energy. She talked about how nature and cities could live together. The distance between them disappeared when they shared their passions. "You are brilliant," he said, looking at her in a way that made her heart beat fast. "Why are you working as a housekeeper when you could design buildings?" Alara smiled sadly. "Student loans cost a lot. Honest work is not shameful." Their eyes met. The air between them felt full of unspoken feelings. Alara thought he might reach for her. But instead, he stood up quickly. "It's late. I'll have my driver take you home," he said. The big Devo Tech charity gala changed the estate into a sparkling wonderland. Crystal lights shone on the marble floors. Rich and famous people wore fancy clothes and talked. Alara helped all day to get things ready. She used her architect's eye to see how the rooms were decorated for the event. As staff, she was not supposed to go. But when she was about to leave, Mrs. Madeline came to her. "Mr. Devo wants you at the gala," she said, her face calm but her eyes curious. "There is a dress for you in the guest room. You have 1 hour." The dress was midnight blue. It was simple but elegant. When Alara put it on, she wondered if she was making a big mistake. This was more than just going to a party. It was a sign that something between her and Cashin was changing. She walked down the big staircase. People stopped talking. Whispers moved through the room. Cashin came to her, looking handsome in his tuxedo. His eyes shone with clear admiration. "Miss Martinez," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "You look breathtaking." "Thank you for inviting me," Alara said, trying to keep her voice steady even though her heart was pounding. "Dance with me," he said, holding out his hand. The music was slow and sweet. Cashin led her to the dance floor. Other couples moved away, making a small space just for them. "Everyone is staring," she whispered. "Let them," he smiled. "You gave them something beautiful to see." They danced like they had done it many times before. Her body fit perfectly with his. The music got louder, and he held her hand. He helped her spin and turn, making her dress fly around her legs. The important people watching looked very surprised. Alara noticed the older men and women looking shocked and curious. "Good," Cashin said softly, pulling her a little closer. "It's time they remember I'm more than just their boss." The song finished, but Cashin didn't let go right away. Their eyes met, and the room seemed to disappear. "Walk with me," he said, taking her hand and leading her outside. The night air was cool and smelled like flowers. Small lights shone in the trees, making everything look magical. They walked quietly, feeling happy just being together. They went inside a glass room called the conservatory. The glass walls reflected the lights from outside, making everything glow softly. The orchids, which Alara took care of, looked bright and beautiful. "Do you remember the first time we talked?" Cashin asked, turning to her. "Right here, with these flowers around us?" Alara smiled. "You knew about my school. You saw me. I've seen you every day since." His hand touched her cheek gently. "Even when I tried not to," he said. There was a strong feeling between them, like lightning. "Cashin," she whispered, "what are we doing?" "Breaking rules," he said. "Following our hearts instead of what others expect." He brushed his thumb on her lip. "Nothing else matters except this moment. Just us." The word us hung between them, full of hope and dreams. "I never felt like this before," she said quietly. "I'm scared, but I'm sure too." He pulled her close. "I have made big business deals, built empires, but nothing is more important than this moment." When they kissed, it was soft and gentle. Then it became more full of love. Alara melted into him, her hands running through his hair while he held her tight. "Hello, my beautiful family. If you are new here, please press the subscribe button to join our Love and Twilight's family. Together, we will hear stories about love and following your heart no matter what. Now let's continue the story. That night changed everything. The line between boss and worker disappeared, and something new and deep grew between them. Cashin's big house became their special place, where only their love mattered. For 6 happy weeks, they lived like in a dream. Cashin changed his schedule to spend more time with Alara. She still worked, but spent evenings talking about her dream of building beautiful homes. Cashin loved hearing her ideas. Then, Alara started feeling sick in the mornings. At first, she thought it was a simple stomach bug. But when she didn't get better, Cashin said she must see his doctor, Dr. Lysander. The doctor's visit changed everything. "Congratulations, Miss Martinez," Dr. Lysander said while looking at her test. "You are pregnant." Cashin, who came with her, held her hand tightly. "But that's not all," the doctor said, watching the screen carefully. "There are 4 babies. Quadruplets." Alara felt like the room was spinning. 4 babies. It was a miracle, something very rare. Cashin stood still, his face serious. "I'll give you a moment," the doctor said, then left the room. Alara's mind raced. She was a housekeeper, and now she was having 4 babies with one of the richest men in the world. The news would spread fast. The important people at the company might be angry. Her dreams could be broken. "Cashin," she said with a shaking voice, "I understand if this changes things." "Marry me," Cashin said firmly. He got down on one knee beside her, still holding her hand. "This isn't a perfect proposal like in stories, but I have never been more sure about anything," he said. Alara looked at him, trying to see if he felt he had to do this, or if he really wanted to. "You don't have to," she said. "I'm not asking because of the babies." He stopped her. "I'm asking because I have wanted to marry you since that night in the conservatory. The ring is in my desk drawer." Tears filled her eyes. 4 babies, Cashin. "Do you know what that means?" "It means our family is coming all at once, not one by one," he said with a small smile. "We will need a bigger nursery than I planned. The board will fight this. People will talk," she said, worried. "My background means I understand family in a way most of my friends don't," Cashin said. "Your background is why I love you, your strength, your vision, your heart. That's what our children will need." Alara took a deep breath. "I love you, Cashin, but I don't want to be the reason your company suffers. My work is important to me." He stood up and held her face in his hands. "Say yes. Let me show you that love is more important than money or what others think." "Yes," she whispered, tears falling. "I will marry you." But the happiness didn't last long. News about them spread quickly, and the board of the company found out. Celine Blackwell, Cashin's assistant, told them. She had wanted to be with Cashin herself for a long time. The board meeting was hard. "This relationship is wrong and could hurt our company's image," said the board chairman, Dorian Hale. Cashin stayed calm. "My personal life is not for the board to control. It is when it hurts the company's value," Celine said, looking worried. "A housekeeper having quadruplets with the boss. The media will be cruel." Cashin was cold. "The media will say what they want. I want our story to be one of love, not a scandal." "You can't really marry her," Celine said, angry. Cashin's eyes were hard. "I'm marrying her. and she will be head of our new sustainable housing project. Her ideas fit perfectly with the company's future. The room was shocked. The board whispered quietly while Celine looked pale. "This is a mistake," Dorian said. "We may need to vote no confidence." "Try it," Cashin said, standing up. "Remember, I still control most of the company." At home, Elara was struggling. The morning sickness lasted all day. Her body was changing fast. Doubts filled her head as she looked in the mirror. "What if I'm not enough?" she whispered. "What if I can't be the wife or mother they need?" Cashin came in and wrapped his arms around her waist. His hands rested protectively over her belly. "You are more than enough. You are everything." But the problems didn't stop. Gossip magazines wrote mean stories about Elara's past. Someone told the papers about her student loans and that she was a single mom before. The worst was when someone told about her father. He left her family when she was 6 and came back years later asking for money when her mother was very sick. The headline screamed, "Gold digger? Maid turned fiancé follows father's footsteps." Cashin found Elara in the conservatory crying as she read the article. "This is what I feared," she said, her voice breaking. "They are making our story ugly." Cashin took the tablet and put it aside. He knelt before her. "Listen to me," he said. "These people don't know you or me. They sell stories with lies because the truth, that two people from different worlds can fall in love, is too simple for them to believe." "It's not just the media," Elara said. "Your friends think I trapped you." "I'll find new friends," Cashin said, kissing her hand. "I've been surrounded by people who liked me for my money. You're the first who saw me." His phone rang. It was the board chairman. Cashin ignored it. "What about the company?" Elara asked. "I won't let you lose your father's legacy because of me," she said. Cashin smiled. "Actually, I want to change the story. What if we don't hide from the news, but use it to do something good?" "What do you mean?" she asked. "Your housing project. Let's show the world your ideas now. Let them see why I fell in love with you, not just as my housekeeper, but as a brilliant architect." Elara smiled for the first time in days. "You think it will work?" "I know it will," Cashin said, placing his hand on her belly. "For them. For us. We will tell our story our way." Cashin's plan was perfect, like his best business moves. Instead of hiding, they faced the news with a big press meeting at the company's headquarters. The day before, Cashin surprised Elara with more news. "I transferred 25% of my shares in the company to you," he said as they looked at her designs. "That's worth a lot," she said. "Yes, but it also gives you power. The board can't ignore you." His face turned serious. "This isn't just about protecting us. It's about showing that your ideas belong in the company's future." Elara was shocked. "Won't this make things worse? People will say I want your money." "Let them," Cashin said, squeezing her hand. "We know the truth. And now, no one can force me out without your say." The press meeting changed everything. Elara stood next to Cashin, wearing a beautiful navy dress that fit her belly. The room was full of reporters and curious people. Cashin spoke first. His strong voice made the room quiet. "Many of you have been guessing about my personal life," he said. "Today, I want to introduce you to the woman who will be my wife and who is also the smart architect behind our new project, Elara Martinez, our new director of sustainable development." People whispered as screens showed Elara's amazing designs for affordable and green homes. "Before you ask, yes, we are expecting," Cashin said, holding her hand. "We are blessed with quadruplets due in 7 months. Our story began when Elara worked in my house, not because of any secret plan, but because true love doesn't care about money or jobs." Elara stepped forward to talk. Her voice was warm but strong. "I know you might be curious and unsure about me," she said. "A housekeeper and a billionaire don't usually make people think of each other. But I am an architect. I stopped one dream for a little while to start another. The buildings you see behind me show my big love for making places where everyone can live happily, no matter how much money they have." She explained her big plan clearly and with a lot of excitement. At first, people were doubtful, but by the time she finished, they were very interested. The reporters stopped asking about Cashin and started asking when the new homes would be built. People began to like her idea more and more. Money experts said the new homes were smart and good for the future. Architecture magazines wanted to talk to Elara. Even Dorian Hale, who was usually strict, said that the news about Elara made the company's value go up. Only Celine still didn't like her and tried harder and harder to make Elara look bad. "She is hiding something," Celine told Dorian in a private meeting. No one can go from being a housekeeper to an important boss this fast without a secret reason. Meanwhile, Alara and Cashin kept planning their wedding. Cashin wanted a big party, but Alara wanted something small. They decided to have the wedding in the big glass room called the conservatory, where they first fell in love. Only their closest friends and family were there. Alara was having quadruplets, 4 babies at once. Her body changed a lot. This kind of pregnancy was very risky. She had to go to the doctor a lot and finally had to stay in bed to rest. Dr. Lysander said she needed to come for checkups every week. At the 16-week scan, they heard 4 strong heartbeats, 2 boys and 2 girls. There were 2 sets of twins, which is very rare. Cashin never missed a doctor visit. He wanted to protect Alara and the babies. He changed his work schedule to stay home and take care of her. One night, as they lay in bed talking about baby names, Alara suddenly got quiet. "What's wrong?" Cashin asked, gently touching her hair. Alara looked into his eyes and said, "There's something I need to tell you. I should have told you before. That night at the gala, the first time we were together, you were my first." Cashin looked at her carefully. "You were a virgin?" Alara nodded, her cheeks turning red. "I was always busy with school, then helping my mother when she got sick. I didn't have time for love or relationships." Cashin's face softened with kindness. "It matters because it makes what you gave me even more special. You trusted me with your first love, and now with our babies. I am honored, Alara." The wedding day was perfect and sunny in spring. The conservatory was full of flowers like orchids, lilies, and jasmine. Alara was 5 months pregnant with 4 babies, so she couldn't wear a normal wedding dress. But the famous designer, Callista Wynne, made her a beautiful ivory silk dress that showed off her belly in a lovely way. Mrs. Madeline, who had become Alara's good friend, helped with the last touches. "I have worked for the Darrow family for 30 years, she said as she fixed Alara's veil. Cashin's father was a good but cold man. "I never saw Cashin truly happy until you came." Before Alara could say anything, there was a loud noise outside. Someone was shouting and clicking heels on the marble floor. The door flew open, and Celine came in looking very angry. "This wedding will not happen," she shouted, holding up some papers. "Not until the board sees these." Cashin stepped in front of Alara to protect her. "This is not right, Celine. Please leave." "No," Celine said, staring at Alara with hate. "I had you checked out. Your mother didn't die of cancer. She killed herself after stealing money from her boss. Just like a mother, like a daughter." The room went very quiet. Alara held her belly and looked very pale. Cashin's voice was full of anger but calm. "Security, please take her away." "Celine, you're fired right now. You are making a big mistake." Celine hissed as security came to get her. "She will ruin you just like her mother ruined my mother." Alara spoke up, calm but strong. "I was blamed by my mother's employer, a man who hurt her and then lied about it. When she tried to tell the truth, she felt so sad and alone that she took her own life. The law did not help her, and she was very ashamed." She took a step forward, one hand on her belly. "I never told anyone this because the court records were kept secret to protect that man's name. It's strange that you got those papers, Celine. Maybe the board should check who really did something wrong here." Everyone was shocked. Celine left in a hurry. Cashin turned to Alara, worried. "Are you okay? We can stop the wedding if you want." Alara shook her head. "No. I have spent too much time letting my mother's sad story control my life. Today is about our future, not the past." Her strength made everyone see her differently. Instead of whispers about bad things, people admired her. Dorian Hale came over, his face softer than usual. "Miss Martinez, I am sorry. I was wrong to judge you." "Thank you, Mr. Hale," Alara said kindly. The board chairman said, "Cashin, the board will want a report on Celine. Getting secret court papers might be against the law." Cashin nodded. "She will face the right punishment." "But today is your day," he said to Alara. When Alara walked down the aisle, Mrs. Madeline walked with her. Alara asked Mrs. Madeline to stand in for her mother. Everyone stood up to show respect. Cashin waited at the end of the aisle with love shining in his eyes. Their wedding promises made many people cry. Cashin said, "Alara, before you, I built a big company but was lonely. You came with honesty and dreams. You showed me that real wealth is not money, but courage and hope. I promise to respect your strength, support your ideas, and be your equal in everything, even the happy chaos of raising our 4 babies." Alara spoke from her heart, without a script. "Cashin, I came to your home just looking for a way to live, never thinking it would become my home. You saw my possibilities. I promised to see the good in our marriage, to turn challenges into chances, and to build not just homes, but a family full of truth, respect, and love. When Cashin put a ring on her finger, it was special. It had 4 small diamonds around one big stone. He whispered, "One for each baby and one for the woman who makes it all possible." The party was small but happy. Mrs. Madeline surprised everyone by bringing a string quartet and champagne. Even people who didn't like their relationship before gave warm congratulations. The next months were full of both good and hard times. Elara's new homes got a lot of attention. The first model community was being built. Her idea to make homes that were nice but affordable and kind to the earth attracted many partners and groups. But at 26 weeks pregnant, Elara's body started to feel tired. The babies were growing well, but her blood pressure went too high. Dr. Lysander said she had to stay in bed all the time to keep the babies safe. Elara found bed rest very hard, because she was used to doing a lot. Cashin made their bedroom like a work office. He put up many screens so Elara could join meetings from bed and watch the progress of her projects. He also changed the company boardroom with video calls so she could attend meetings without leaving the house. "Your wife is stronger on bed rest than most bosses when they are working," Dorian said after Elara gave a meeting presentation from bed. Cashin smiled proudly. "That's why I married her." During the long quiet days, they dreamed about the future. 4 cribs in the nursery, the baby's first steps and words, and the happy mess of raising 2 sets of twins. "They will have each other to lean on," Elara said, her hand on her big belly. "For kids who will always know what it's like to be together." "Like you and me," Cashin said softly. They both grew up mostly alone. He was an only child with parents who didn't pay much attention, and she was raised by her single mother who struggled a lot. At 30 weeks, which is very special for having 4 babies, they felt hopeful. Dr. Lysander said they were doing great because most quadruplets come early, before 28 weeks. One night, Cashin helped Elara turn in bed, which was getting harder. Suddenly, she gasped in pain. "Something's wrong," she whispered, scared. Cashin called the doctor right away. The doctor told them to go to the hospital fast. At the hospital, the machines showed 2 of the babies were in trouble. "We have to do an emergency C-section," Dr. Lysander said after looking at the tests. "Babies B and D are not doing well." They were very scared as Elara went to the operating room. Cashin put on hospital clothes and held her hand. He whispered kind words to help her stay brave, even though he was scared too. One by one, their 4 babies were born. First came Aurora, who was the same as her twin Zinnia. Then came Dominic, a little bigger than his twin Evren, who was last and cried loudly. All 4 were breathing by themselves. Dr. Lysander was amazed. "They will need special care, but they are very strong." After the surgery, alarms went off. Elara's blood pressure fell very low, and her face turned pale. A nurse called out, "She is bleeding badly after the birth. Blood pressure is dangerously low." Cashin watched very worried as the doctors worked quickly to stop the bleeding. Dr. Winter looked serious and focused now. He whispered to Elara, whose eyes had closed, "Stay with me. Our story is not over. It is just beginning." The next hours felt very long and scary. Cashin waited in the hospital room while Dr. Winter and her team worked hard to help Elara. She had lost a lot of blood, and her body was very weak. Finally, Dr. Winter said, "We stopped the bleeding. Elara had many blood transfusions, and she needs to be watched very closely. But she is fighting hard." Cashin's strong face showed worry. "Will she be okay?" Dr. Winter smiled a little. "She is young and very strong. The next day will be very important. I hope for the best." When Cashin could finally go see her, Elara was lying very still with many machines around her. She looked tired but still there. He sat by her bed and took her hand gently. "Our babies are so beautiful," he whispered. "Aurora has your strong chin. Zinnia has your kind eyes. Dominic already looks serious like me in meetings. And Evren is quiet and watches everything. They're all waiting for you. I am waiting for you." All night, Cashin stayed by her side, talking softly about their family, their future home, and all the love they would share. When morning came, Elara's fingers moved in his hand. Cashin heard her weak voice and saw her trying to open her eyes. Joy filled his heart. "I'm here," he said. "The babies are perfect. All 4 are small but strong." Elara smiled a little, just like their mother. The babies stayed in a special hospital room called the NICU. They were born early at 30 weeks but were very brave. Cashin spent time both with Elara and visiting the babies. He sometimes worked from the hospital. On the fourth day, Alara was strong enough to sit up. Cashin said, "You should see the babies. They already have their own little personalities. The nurses can tell them apart better than I can." "Take me to them," Alara said. She wanted to see her babies very much, even if she was still tired. Dr. Winter said it was okay. Cashin took Alara in a wheelchair to the NICU. When she saw the tiny babies in their special beds, she felt a strong mother's love. "Hello, my loves," she whispered, touching the plastic cover of the incubators. "I'm sorry I couldn't stay strong enough to keep you inside longer." The head nurse smiled and said, "Your babies are amazing. Quadruplets usually have many problems, but yours are fighters." When Alara was strong enough, she held each baby close to her skin. This helped her start to feel better inside. Cashin took pictures of these special moments. Alara holding Aurora with tears, little Dominic holding Cashin's finger, and Everin and Zinnia cuddling together. After 3 weeks, the babies were healthy enough to go home. This was very fast for babies born early. Dr. Winter said, "You have done very well, but taking care of 4 early babies is hard. You have help, right?" Cashin nodded. "Yes, 4 special nurses will help on different days. Mrs. Madeline will also help at home." The big house, called Devo Estate, changed from a fancy place to a busy family home. The old billiard room became a nursery with 4 special cribs in a circle, changing tables, and a cozy chair for Alara and Cashin to hold each baby. The first months were full of feeding, changing diapers, and loving moments. Cashin took 6 months off work to help. Many people were surprised, but Cashin said, "This time with my children is very special. I want to be here for them." Alara kept working on her housing project from home. Her ideas were so good that many magazines wrote about her work. At 3 months old, the babies had a naming party in the same place Cashin and Alara got married. The babies wore matching clothes. Everyone saw their different little personalities. Aurora watched everything very carefully. Zinnia smiled happily at friends. Dominic, the biggest, kicked his legs a lot. Everin was quiet and thoughtful. Cashin said, "Their middle names are for people we love. Aurora Grace is for Alara's mother. Zinnia Rose is for my grandmother. Dominic Cashin carries my name. Everin Dorian is for a man who challenged us but helped our family." Dorian Hale, who was honored with a name, came to say, "I am proud to be wrong about you. You have changed Cashin and the company." That night, after the guests left, Cashin and Alara stood by the babies' beds. Alara asked, "Did you ever imagine all this? For babies and a big housing project?" Cashin held her close and said, "I imagined success, but not this happiness and purpose you gave me." She smiled and said, "You showed me dreams can come true with the right partner." Outside, the spring rain gently tapped the windows, like a lullaby for their family built with love. 1 year went by with first smiles, first teeth, and first words. The babies grew at their own speed, but always seemed to understand each other with looks and sounds. At their first birthday, they had a small garden party instead of a big one. Everyone saw how Cashin had changed. Dorian said, "I never thought Cashin would sing nursery rhymes and not check his phone." Mrs. Madeline smiled and said, "Father had changed him." Alara's work is even better than before. Alara's housing idea grew into Devo Community Solutions, working in 12 cities. She won 3 big awards for her beautiful and helpful designs. Cashin told people, "The best choice I made was putting Alara on our team. Her ideas took us far." Sometimes, the babies came to board meetings if they needed care close by. The office had a family room for this. Aurora and Zinnia looked the same, but acted very different. Aurora was careful and watched things before playing. Zinnia was happy and full of energy, making many friends. Dominic loved technology and all the gadgets around. Everin was quiet and watched everything with big smiles when he found something new. When the babies were 18 months old, Cashin and Alara had 4 busy toddlers exploring everywhere. They made the formal living room a play space with special designs from Alara to help their growing minds. Cashin said, "Alara's creativity grew with the children, not less." She said, "Having children changed how I think about spaces. I want places to help children learn, be curious, and feel close to others." Their family story helped others see them as good parents and a happy family, not just rich people. Business magazines talked about how their family-friendly work helped employees work better and stay longer. On the twins' second birthday, Cashin gave Alara a big surprise. He started the Grace Martinez Foundation to help women who face unfair problems at work, just like Alara's mother did. Alara looked at the papers with shaking hands. Cashin said softly, "This foundation will help women get legal help, counseling, and new chances in life." That night, Alara thanked Cashin for helping her heal her past and think about the future. Cashin said their children would grow up knowing their grandmother's bravery through this work. 6 months later, the foundation helped a hospital worker who was wrongly accused and brought attention to the cause. It made Alara and her mother proud. When the babies turned 3, mornings were busy with 4 different little personalities. Aurora chose clothes early. Zinnia changed her mind right before going out. Dominic needed many explanations. Evren quietly accepted everything calmly. Cashin said, "They teach me more about people than 20 years of business." Alara smiled and said, "Aurora is the planner, Zinnia the peacemaker, Dominic the inventor, and Evren the thinker." One evening, they watched Evren looking at a butterfly with deep thought. On their 3rd anniversary, they sat in the conservatory where they first connected. Now it had comfy furniture to watch their children play among plants. Cashin asked, "Do you miss our old life?" Alara watched Zinnia trying to teach Aurora a dance and said, "Sometimes I miss sleep, but not the emptiness or waiting for a life that was not real." Cashin nodded. Before, success was everything. Now it is part of a bigger, richer life. As the sun set with beautiful colors, Cashin took her hand. "Dance with me, Mrs. Devo." They danced slowly, no music needed, surrounded by their 4 children playing. Cashin whispered, "I've been thinking maybe we should grow our family more." Alara laughed softly. "Not more children, right?" "No," he smiled. "I mean grow our vision. Your housing ideas are changing lives. What if we made it worldwide?" Her eyes shone with passion. "A Devo foundation for homes that respect people and nature. From our family to many families." As their children ran to them for hugs, Alara felt thankful for the journey. From a hard start to a life full of love and hope. She whispered her mother's favorite words, "Life really does unfold in the most unexpected ways." What do you think of Cashin and Alara's amazing story? Did it make your heart feel happy? If this story touched your heart, please press that like button. It helps more people find these stories. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a new story. Most importantly, share your thoughts in the comments. What you say might help someone who is going through a hard time right now. Until next time, this is Sage King, reminding you, the most beautiful stories are the ones where broken hearts find their way back together.